Okay.
And my cat knew me better than anybody else ever. Yeah, actually. And we were probably together, we were my longest relationship apart from my parents. Yeah, we were together 18 years. And I picked her up in the, in this old couple's house. They were having to move. They had 18 cats or 16 cats or something like that. They started out with 2 and let them breed, and they had a big garden. And then they needed to move because they were elderly and they needed to move to a little flat. And they couldn't take 16 or whatever cats anymore. So I went there, and I don't know if you've ever heard of anything like this, but it's almost like your pets pick you somehow. Well, that's how it felt with her. And the couple brought me out this black fluffy cat first, a boy cat. It was all fur and fluff, and it was alright, you know. I said, well, I'm not really good with the fluffy ones, they make me wheezy a bit. And then it was just the second cat they brought me out, and that was my cat, Pearl. And she was teeny weeny, and she just sort of wrapped her hands around my neck and was purring, and just immediate sort of rapport. It's like I'm going home with you. It was just instant, almost like, you know, when you fall in love, it's instant, isn't it? Just, you couldn't describe it, it just happens. And it was the very same with her. And she was, 6 weeks earlier, my boyfriend had picked me up a tabby cat, because it reminded him of a cat he'd had. But there wasn't the same rapport with that cat. I love all animals anyway, but apart from snakes maybe. But there wasn't the same rapport with the other cat. But this cat was totally different. And when she arrived, she was like 6 weeks younger than him, but she was the governor. I don't know how that is with cats. Maybe the girls always lead, I don't know. But he didn't eat unless she ate it, put it that way. And he always checked out where she was going, what she was doing, and he followed her. Even though he had arrived at the house first, she immediately arrived, and this was how it was going to be. So, which is quite cute, I thought. And and her growing up, well, I suppose I tried to be equal and cuddle them both equally and stuff like that. But you're not supposed to have favourites. But also, I suppose she just was a clear favourite, although I didn't let her dominate too much. They used to fight over who's going to sit on my knee when I get in from work. But then she was a bit naughty. She's giving us that little clap sort of thing. She teeny little paws and stuff. But she was a rug that way. But then if I was at work, I'd come home and they'd be cuddled up on the couch together, like kids, isn't it really? So and there were rooms she wasn't allowed into, like bedrooms, stuff like that, but that didn't make any difference. She just put her hand under the door and opened it and just climbed into the bottom of the bed if whoever was in the bed, it didn't matter who it was. She's pretty slutty, really, in that respect. She just roll over for a cuddle with anybody, sort of thing, you know. So very friendly. Also really chatty, you know. She'd just look up at you and whatever, you know. And I suppose she had nicknames. I used to call her Dids, because sometimes she'd just go did. And she was just she had incredibly acute hearing, and granted I chatted to her all the time, but I used to, when I would be chatting to her, she'd inevitably sit on my chest because she was like small anyway. I'd be chatting to her and I might go, like she'd rub noses sort of thing, or at the end of my nose, and I would go click to her, you know. And then I remember, it was amazing, it was years and years later, I'd done this job where I looked after an elderly lady, and the lady herself she couldn't string a sentence together. They think she had a stroke or something when she had a knee operation. And although she was mobile again, her language, her communication skills didn't really come back again. But I remember the first day I used to go there and do 24-hour shift, and the way it worked out, it was easier for me, I was living in 3 different places at the time, to leave the cat there for the days that I wasn't there and come back, because they had a nice garden. They had a cat flat where the old lady used to have pets in the past, and the old lady really loved animals, so that worked out well too. But I remember walking into the room and I sat down and I said to the ladies, the lady's son came in and he said, where's the cat today? She's not around today. And I went, she's around somewhere. And I just went, and like she came from the far end of the house, and it was that quiet, you know. I just went like that, and she just came. And this guy's face was just like, just nothing fancy or anything like that. She couldn't have heard me come out the road because I'd walked, sort of thing. And then the other cute thing about her was, like, she was really seriously intelligent, this cat. We were working there and she became Nurse Pearl in the end, because while she was staying there, this old lady used to go to the loo, and this lady's like in her, I suppose, late 80s, early 90s. Because she wasn't so mobile, the longest distance she would go would be like from here to there, I don't know, 10 yards, not 10 yards, 10 feet, something like that, walking from her chair to the toilet with a bit of help. And so she wasn't that fit, so when she went to the loo she'd have to spend a while there, sort of thing, so maybe an hour or two, sort of thing, wait until she gets the result. And the cat used to sit on her knee on the toilet. And this lady, she didn't like going to the toilet. She said, oh no, especially if there was something going to happen. She didn't like it. I don't know why, whatever. But I just noticed that the cat used to sit on her knee, and the cat would sit on her knee and purr. And the old lady would sit and stroke the cat. And the old lady would go, oh, no, 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 and the cat would talk back. So it's like, even though the old lady didn't have words to put a sentence together anymore, she was conveying affection to the cat, or saying to the cat how her day was or her feelings were, and the cat totally got it and just talked back. And they were like, it was just really, really cool. So she became like Nurse Pearl then as well. But yeah, and then the sad part of our time together was near the end, where the vet told me she had something wrong with her kidneys and something wrong with her thyroid. And he said to me, he treated her, every 3 months was treating her, and she would be sick and wasn't drinking water so much anymore. But I queried whether it was too much chlorine in the water where we were. And it was really, really, oh God, that was just crucifying. He was saying that to treat one illness, you were upsetting the other illness. So it was going to be, they couldn't cure it, and he said that lots of cats, they die with the thyroid, the kidney, whatever. It doesn't make it right in my head, because just loving her so much, and she was so vibrant and so smart and so clever, which is so much the case with human beings, isn't it? They can be so switched on, so knowledgeable, so wise and everything, and yet when their time to die has come, it's come, and no matter how smart you are or with it you are, that day will come and the lights will go out and you won't wake up anymore. And that's what it was like with her. And I suppose it was like the sort of months leading up to it. She always slept with me anyway. She always slept in the crook of my body. And in the morning she would stand on my chest and tell me it's time to get up for whatever. She'd sit at first, and then if I didn't get up, it would be just as gentle. She'd just slap me in the face to wake me up in the morning. And but in the last sort of few months, she got really, really clingy. And like when I would go to bed at night, she would curl up. Not only would she curl up, she'd wrap her entire body around my hand so that I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave the bed without her knowing, which is like, not like she was. Before, like, she'd curl up in the bed, I could nip to the loo in the middle of the night and come back and she'd still be in the bed, sort of thing. But like when she was close to the end, the vet said to me, animals, they kind of know when it's their time, sort of thing. But I have photographs of that, of her, like with her little body and her little feet wrapped around my arm, sort of thing, in the bed. I had to sleep like that. I couldn't turn over anyway. It was just not but yeah, she was just amazing. She was gorgeous and amazing. And I have pictures of her, and I haven't looked at the cat since. That's probably be, I suppose, 2 or 3 years this August. I'm not good at a sense of time, but yeah, so there you go.